Hello, my name is Soliday, and today I will be talking about chapter 16 of the book, which is called Sins of Admission, the case of the not-so-free pet party. The beginning of this chapter is talking about, the eagerness and, young people who are coming into jobs, ready, enthusiastically ready for experience since they're inexperienced. And this starts off by saying that, they're the young people are full of hope, and they're full of ethical and what to do in a sense from schooling, but sometimes since of their inexperience they meet unethical managers or bosses, and that's what the beginning of this chapter is about. It's about communication and telling the truth and what to do and not to do whenever you meet possibly an unethical person who is higher up than you on a job. um, so it starts off by naming a girl named Henderson, who was young, and she finally got her first job. And the job that she happened to get was the one she worked at with her internship. Throughout the time between the internship and her getting the job, they hired a manager in a way, who was higher up than her, who she didn't know, and that manager's name is Bran. And it talks about how they work for basically a pet care. They wash, cut nails, groom, do everything, while the owners can't or don't have the time to during the day while they're working. And they talk about they do like all sorts of pet parties, and they do like big gathering and events. And Liz, who is the general manager over both of them, was wanting to do a sort of, I guess, gathering. So she asked Bran and Henderson to kind of work it. And Bran, who was obviously higher up than her, told her, what they want to do, and they came up with a thing called a barking barbecue, which people, which Bran said is going to be a free event. And since it's a free event, there will be, activities, free grooming, nail cutting, food, all of that. And Bran told Henderson to display it as a free event, as an ad. And Henderson went right on to what she was told. She said it was a free event. She called up all the vendors. She called up, people who could help her and them, the organization, run it, just run the small gathering, volunteers. Henderson put out a newspaper ad. She put out an ad in the college. She called places. She started really gathering and working, for a couple of weeks or months for this gathering, this barking barbecue. And eventually, Henderson came up to Bran, and she said that the expenses that the organization had didn't cover everything. And she asked Bran if there was a mistake in like expenses, or if there's something that they need to do. And Bran said that they were actually planning on charging people if they want to do anything extra at the barking barbecue. That people can make donations, or if you wanted to be groomed or do activities, that the people would have to pay for it. So she said that technically it is free to go to the event, but you have to pay to do things there. And Henderson, as soon as Henderson, heard this, two thoughts came. She either thought that this was really unethical, and that you should, that this isn't really telling the people the truth. And she also thought that maybe she shouldn't say anything because technically Brand is her boss, so she didn't want to, get fired or have a bad reputation right off the bat of starting her new job. As time went on, she kept bugging, Brand. Henderson kept bugging Brand about it, saying like, hey, like, do we need to fix this? Because, Henderson didn't want to mark it as a free event no more. She wanted to mark it as, the truth. Like, you can come to an event and you have to pay for things. And Brand told her just leave it as free and it will attract people. And Henderson, like I said, that was unethical. That is no longer a free event. That, they're lying to their customers. That they're not doing, what a good business and truth telling, should be. And after a while, Brand told Henderson, like, listen, I'm your boss. If there's something that I feel is wrong with it, then I will deal with it. And after hearing that, Henderson said, that's fine. So she moved up to the next person that was above them, which is the general manager, who is Liz. She went and came and talked to Liz about the event, and she had everything planned out. Since she's the general manager, she wanted to make sure that everything was good and that, the general, Liz really heard what she was trying to say. And after, during the meeting, she thought that Liz wouldn't know about what Brand was doing, and she didn't. Henderson told Liz, and Liz was, surprised. And she told Liz that Brand wanted to market as free even though it's not, and she felt like it was bad for customers and people who are loyal to the company. And Liz took everything that she had, and she went and heard the other side of the story, and she went and got Flo, who is the owner, who is the big boss, and they got together and they made a decision to fire Brand, who was second of the manager, and Flo just paid for everything that needed to be paid for out of her own pocket to have it stay free. And that was probably also one of the reasons why they fired Bren, was because of her not telling the truth, lying, miscommunication, and probably also because the owner had to pay for everything. And then after that, Henderson felt like that really taught her a lot, that you should stick to what you say, and that you shouldn't have deception of customers, that you should tell the truth. And when it comes to this chapter, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I believe that the way the branding was done could have definitely been done different. I agree with Henderson in the story that you could have even said free event, but activities and gatherings and stuff you would have to pay for, which then I guess you wouldn't be having lying, or having the customers have a different deception, that you would be telling the truth in, or just tell them like, hey, you will have to pay for things. But then again, if Liz, Henderson, and Brand would have all gotten together, I believe at the beginning of the event, that it would have gone a lot more smoother with all three of them, all the three people who were working on the event. And if they all worked together, they could have came up with something. And then the whole fiasco wouldn't have happened. Or if Brand would have just done her job, done her part, and just not want to lie to the people, it could have been fixed. I believe that Henderson made the right decision, because obviously you want to listen to your boss, but you also have to think about, what's ethical, what about, you shouldn't lie, not, miscommunication shouldn't be a thing. And you got to think about the business and the customers, because the customers and their loyalship is what make a business successful, have growth. So you shouldn't lie to them. And I believe that's one of the many things that this chapter taught me. It also taught me that, truth telling should be always be in a business, and that people who are above you can really be unethical, or they can guide young people, who just start working there in the wrong way, just to make them look better, or just to look worse, even if you're the young person. So I believe that this chapter basically just said, think about business, and that people, when you're just starting a job, there can be people who are unethical, and if they are, to check them. And if they still are unethical, then talk to a higher, superiorities. Talk to somebody who's the boss or higher above them, and talk about it with them. And then if their mindset is unethical or bad, then you can either stick with the company, or you can actually leave it and go to a better one. And I believe that that's what this chapter taught me. And that's it. Peace.